Like I mentioned, like to play very weird, very peculiar, very interesting team comps. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. I do not want to predict anything from Infamous whatsoever anymore. I'm done with predictions for Infamous.
Well, with that, I mean, it's not like it's such an off-meta pick for them to take up that Idris and ban out the Black Feather. I mean, they're both very meta picks for now, but the Finn pickup, you know, maybe I'm done as well. I would like to say it because personally I see Idris as quite a mobile hero, but Finn, we talked about this before when he was picked up in the previous match between Nebulae and Divine Aurora, and the fact that it was being played alongside a Sky, and it's just that question of is it really utilizing the whole effectiveness that, you know, Finn can bring to the table? But they're going to go for it anyway, and we'll just have to see if it works out for them. Now, the question is it going to be a CP or weapon power Idris?
Honestly, at this point in time, I'm not surprised if it'd be a Roam Idris and maybe a CP Finn. But all in all, okay, fine, all right. All in all, I think Spaghetti will be running a CP Idris, and hopefully we will be seeing Chingy on another just new, refreshing jungler, if that's possible. We do see, however, Bati is being picked up by the side of Elite 8, so they will just settle for a comfort pick, something that's tried and used and tried and proven to work for them. But up against a Finn, I'm not too sure how it will work. Granted, you're fair, you will silence out Finn, but all in all, it can be easily blocked out, and we saw very, very good blocks coming out from Spaghetti in that previous game. So it's down to the last pick for the side of Infamous. I'm not surprised anymore. They can run a, I don't know, Weapon Alpha, maybe? I mean, Weapon Alpha will be countered directly, but we will be saying thank you. Ask me. Firstly, the movement speed does not quite allow you to be very aggressive. There you go, Elite 8, very aggressive in terms of the early game movements and maneuvers.
Yep, and with that, it's always what I like to see when Grace is picked up on a team, to go for that aggressive invade in the start of the game. And Elite 8 man secure the mid camp and a lot of damage down onto SNK, and it's perhaps what you were mentioning before, that although you can soak up a lot, it's not always ideal to do so. And good rotations coming out from Spaghetti, however, to go to the backs of the enemy jungle, but whether they'll be caught out by official Hein on the return here is the question. And meanwhile, I think we saw Anime Save Me. Oh my! Anime Save Me going in deep for Retribution for the first blood. They get it, and they might be able to get out there alive, as it looks like Chingy too busy just focusing on farm at this point.
Yep, I mean, Chingy has to, Chingy will have to. There is nothing much he can do in the jungle at this point in time, especially with SNK being so low and just took so much damage from Batiste and Han Jaeger on that of Castro. So, you know, like I said, like I mentioned, it is one thing to consider, and it's one very big part of playing Finn that you have to consider whether or not you are taking a lot or too much unnecessary damage. However, Spaghetti will return back to lane and will just clear this lane now. However, we do see Chingy though still staying in lane, just being very aggressive, just putting as much pressure as possible on this lane.
Yep, and we do see that is fairly like Infamous to do so, though, to put a lot of pressure up in the lane. It's always they want to be that initial team to get the first turret, and they like to play in the aggressive role. I mean, who wouldn't? You don't really want to play so defensively, but you could think with the team comp that they picked up, it isn't such an aggressive team comp to have that Finn pick, and to have Celeste is more of a reactionary kind of team comp, I'd like to call it. And Anime Save Me diving in, they're not able to steal the mid camp, but looks like it's always worth a try just in case.
Yep, it will be worth a try if Anime Save Me does pick it up and just deprive it from the side of Infamous. Spaghetti will just go into the jungle to farm alongside that of Chingy. Chingy now has got a heavy and that normal Prism as well. And, you know, Chingy, I don't quite see Chingy play a lot of Celeste. Most of the time it will be on Spaghetti that's on the Celeste. So I'm quite surprised and genuinely pleasantly surprised that Chingy will be on the Celeste.
Ooh, but look at the dive coming in from Elite 8 as they jump in there. damage going on to SNK and not really onto Vocari so much, although we see a few glimmer shots landing through onto Spaghetti. Chingy repositioning themselves, trying to keep Official Hein away from the rest of the team. That Heliogenesis in the bush, and they're now going to jump in onto the turret here. lLQUATER-8 need to be careful. They managed to get the kill, but the core collapse is going to come in for the return kill, and they pick up the Batiste, trading out for the Idris. So right now, I mean, yeah, it's like really even so far. You can see in terms of aggression, it's definitely in lQUATER's favor pushing towards this turret, but the team comp that Infamous has picked up, I'd just like to mention again how it's just really good at holding the ground, and they're able to keep control of that turret. And as it moves into the late game, Chingy's going to have that range, and they might even decide to swap out Chingy for Spaghetti into with the jungle and lane position, and then Chingy's just really going to be up to hold that first turret secured if they can get there before the first turret.
Yep, but all in all, I must say, very good pressure coming out from Infamous.
Yep, and we see them diving in deep onto Hanyegas, who's going to go low, but they're going to be able to return the glimmer shots that are enough to pick up the kill onto SNK. And right now, Hanyegas hasn't gone back yet. They're thinking they're safe on the back line, but if Chingy hits level 6 fairly soon, they might be able to get a lucky Solar Storm off. We'll just have to see. Chingy, although a fair bit away, doesn't have the farm just yet. And oh, that doesn't get stolen from them. And now we do see Kestrel did go back to base, but there's now a presence that lQUATER-8 should be worried about, that Chingy now with that level 6 will be able to use the Solar Storm to cross map and maybe just for some good ingoing damage on fights.
Yep, and on top of that, we must understand one thing. It's besides the level 8 spike on Chingy as well, I really like the amount of pressure that lQUATER-8 is putting in lane, because they know that Spaghetti on the and Idris just do not farm very well as compared to a Castro in that of early game, and thus capitalizing fully on the amount of damage they can put out on the lane minions as compared to Spaghetti. One shot, one kill, catches Chingy out, not allowing Chingy to just port back safely. And this time, we will see very similar pushes coming out from lQUATER-8.
Yeah, lQUATER-8 trying to push up onto this turret once again, clearing out the minions first. Their own can get into range and shield turret now. It's just about finding the shots they need onto it, but you can see SNK body blocking a lot of them, and just the positioning with the Heliogenesis trying to keep the rest of lQUATER-8 away from doing what they want to, and Polite Company going to be used. Infamous need to be careful here. They might need support from Chingy, who's just trying to get this mid cap so they can have enough energy to help with the defense on this turret. And as we said, Chingy not yet at that level 8, doesn't have that power spike to really swap over to lane, as we see Spaghetti kind of struggling a bit up there. But when we look over at the CS, it's more so that Hanyegas has also been taking a lot of Official Hein CS, because Official Hein's still sitting back at 14, and we see Hanyegas up at 69 over to Chingy's 40. So it helps Hanyegas get ahead in that perspective, and I think that's good. You talked about in the draft phase, they might just go and use Official Hein more so for that Ordained and for that CS. And they're starting to focus on using Hanyegas for the damage, the massive damage you can really get out of those glimmer shots early game.
Yeah, but even hyper farmed up Hanyegas just do not. I mean, the CS is relatively comparable, Chingy and Spaghetti, but a lot of damage on Chingy there.
Yep, and we see Anime Save Me diving in deep into the fight. Doesn't have that level 6 yet, so no divine intervention coming out, but neither does SNK, so SNK will not have the Force to Core just yet. So we're still fairly early into the game, 7 minutes in, and this is probably a round where we'll see a team fight break out and one team take a turret. There's going to be the Solar Storm coming out from Infamous, followed up by the engage of Spaghetti using that Shimmer Strike to jump in there, manages to pick up a kill onto Official Hein. Actually, Chingy picking up that one, but definitely Spaghetti doing the work as well. And there's that turret, and that's why I said it's usually in Infamous games a lot of the time. They will get this first turret at least by 7 minutes in.
Yep, and we do see the first turret being taken down 7 minutes in, but Chingy low on energy. Will it be stolen? Nope.
Nope, but there's going to be the Holy Nova to secure the kill onto Finn, as they were in that front line. And now whether Infamous are going to be able to escape from this one, or if they just decide to turn around and fight. One shot, one kill going to land on Spaghetti, but not much damage. They have the help of that Crystal Sentry. Spaghetti and Chingy could do this if they land the CS needed. You can see the damage coming through on those Heliogenesis, and Spaghetti gonna dive in there with the Shroud Step, and then the Chakram to follow up, picks up the kill onto Official Hind. Anime Save Me, the only one left standing for Elite 8. It's gonna be able to make it back to base, however.
Yep, and so they take a sentry and risk 2 lives and possibly a turret if they can push this in. They can definitely push this in, however, we do see Infamous a lot of damage on this turret.
Ooh, and Chingy now with that level 8, which they actually hit previously, a good Chakram to finish off the turret, but there's going to be the engage coming through by Elite 8, or the re-engage I should say. Yeah, I'm not sure about the targeting of that Ordained onto Finn. It wasn't quite the right target because it's not really going to affect him, and they do manage to escape from that. What actually happened in the previous fight where Elite 8 thought they had the advantage, they had the free man advantage, Chingy had hit that level 8 and they had the range on those Heliogenesis, which we saw how important they are right now as they're able to chase down Anime Save Me. The Solar Storm came through earlier. Oh, SNK tanking up that one kill, did manage to use Polite Company just in time. Both carries going very low in that fight, but managing to make it out there.
I'm quite impressed with Chingy on this Celeste, working with very, very limited energy as well. So, I mean, all in all, they did a decent job trying to save and salvage that turret, save their own turret. And SNK, that very timely Polite Company, definitely did save Chingy from a certain death as well. However, with this power spike now, Hanjega and Official Hind on their respective heroes will have a hard time, and a lot of damage will be dealt onto SNK. And with their hero, they do not have quite a build up, but another team fight will be happening.
Spaghetti jumping onto that backline, trying to find Hanjegas, but needs to be careful. Forced Accord was used, but blocked out, but it doesn't matter because there's the chase coming through by Infamous with the Heliogenesis. They're able to pick up 1 kill, Spaghetti picking up the other, and they are just going to scare Official Hind off as there's not much he can do on his own against Infamous right now.
Yep, Chingy now though taking a lot of aggro from that Crystal Miner or the Gold Miner, and Official Hind may be looking for a certain steal.
No, it looks like Fearsome Shade a second late. 1 shot, 1 kill came out as well, but not going to land. And that's going to further increase the gold lead that Infamous already have, seeing at 26.7 over to the 21.6. A 5k gold lead already, 11 minutes in, but I mean, this is Infamous we're talking about. Nothing that, like, special here, and especially with the team comp they've got, it's just going to transition so well for them into the late game.
Definitely, I must agree with you on that. And Spaghetti constantly, and I guess they kind of swap roles all in all. Chingy usually would be, you know, on the front lines, and this time we do see Spaghetti on the front line. And Spaghetti, I really enjoy how he does go in with his engages, because half the time he usually waits for, you know, Spaghetti or rather Chingy to just get everyone very, very low, and then with that,
and we see that a fair bit of damage going through. There's a lot of heat. We're down on ball. There's the Solar Storm coming out in return, but oh, great use of the Forced Accord is going to catch out Hanjegas and Grace. Spaghetti cleaning up the kills, and once again, Official Hind just on the backline, not really able to do anything in these fights, and just steps out of the core collapse barely. Spaghetti doesn't even need a walk out there Ordained, but he's going to be able to dash out as soon as it's done, and Infamous taking the anchor turret, taking 2 more kills to their name, and getting out of there. They should be able to go for this Crystal Sentry as well, which I don't think they've got any of yet. So yeah, 2 lives remaining on that one. They're starting to, you know, make the jungle their own, and especially with just how it's going. I said it before, the transition into the late game, into the mid game. We're not even at the late game, so the transition into the mid game is just so impressive.
Yep, but Spaghetti though may be caught out. SNK goes in with that Polite Company.
Yeah, that Polite Company allowing Chingy to actually stay fairly, I say low, as in no defense at this point, unless you count the health given to you from the travel boots. But SNK, as long as they stand nearby Chingy, they're going to be able to provide them with the defense from Polite Company, and it seems to be enough a lot of the time. And Chingy has the range to kind of shoot over top of the rest of their teammate and use Spaghetti and SNK as that frontline. And you mentioned before this Finn kind of being a hero that's used as a bit of a wall, and in this case, you know, quite so literally, as Chingy's able to stand behind them, and SNK just tanks up all the, you know, glimmer shots coming through, the bad mojos, and it seems to be working out quite well for Infamous.
It is definitely, and yet again, they are going for that gold miner just to push the gold lead just a little more all in all. I must say, Infamous, this game playing very much like them, although they were slightly shaky, rocky in the initial part of the game when, you know, the side of Elite 8 just were very, very aggressive going into the jungle and trying their best to siege. The fact that they didn't have that range in that early game definitely hurt them, but Infamous definitely climbing and slowly putting out more damage than Elite 8 can handle.
Ooh, Chingy needs to be careful not to misposition themselves and be in the front line, tanking up too much. And we see, oh, Kestrel just putting out so much damage for one shot, one kill going to land on Spaghetti. Fountain is forced out from the side of Infamous, and there's the Solar Storm in return, but it doesn't really land onto anyone. Anime Save Me diving in deep. Spaghetti SNK looks like he might fall, but Chingy holding the front lines as they have all these Heliogenesis down on the fold, and they're really trying to hit Hanyegas, but the range is fairly similar at this point. And it looks like Divine Intervention going to be used on Official Hein. The side of Infamous need to be careful. They're playing a very dangerous game, but they like it. Spaghetti gonna dive in on that Idris game, a kill onto the Kestrel, and the rest of Infamous following through. Quibble lands onto Batiste, and Chingy picking up the kill. Wow, Infamous just playing that one so risky, and you can see just by Spaghetti going and getting rid of the Kestrel, it allowed Chingy to really step through, because it was oh my Chingy. What are you doing? Doing the recall as Anime Save Me could see them, and then just using the core collapse on them, getting a bit of damage, even though it's not really meaning anything at this point. But the side of Infamous were able to push through after that Kestrel had fallen, because we could see Kestrel doing a similar build in terms of damage to what Chingy is. They're going for a very glass cannon kind of build, as we see only a reflex on Hanyegas, and then a Sorrow Blade double Tyrant's Monocle. Those glimmer shots have got to hurt.
Yep, and then we look over at Chingy, and not an ounce of defense whatsoever, and doing relatively well, because you know, the side of Elite 8 do not actually have the dive, barring Anime Save Me on that Grace. Even if Grace goes in with that Benediction, it will not do much whatsoever onto Chingy, and that is how SNK can just be this very reliable wall. And as you mentioned earlier on, SNK is just standing there and just soaking up as much damage and just allowing Chingy to just poke from the sides, from the back, from the front, from everywhere.
Yep, and right now Chingy starting to put down some early Heliogenesis, more so its vision, but it's good zoning as well. Vespa Force gets blocked out over the wall. It looks like SNK might even go towards that Echo with that Void Battery in his pocket, and that wouldn't be such a bad idea, because it does, once we have forced out that first initial block from the side of Elite 8, you're able to go in with a second one and then just pull them in closer into the core collapse more likely, and into Spaghetti's grasp more so. So right now, one shot, one kill gonna come out. Misses, I believe, didn't hit anyone in that line of fire. And look at this, Chingy with the Clockwork and the Eve just has enough energy to continuously put down these Heliogenesis, and Spaghetti's gonna jump in onto the backline. Solar Storm gonna land, and meanwhile Spaghetti picks up a kill onto Batiste, follows up with a cleanup onto Official Hein, onto Hanyegas, I mean, and Anime Save Me gets taken down by Chingy. Infamous, just a well-oiled machine at this point, working their way through the team of Elite 8.
Definitely. I mean, we saw Spaghetti just immediately jumping in, and the follow-up from Infamous was just beautiful. You know, although it was slightly late, but a lot of times when we do see Finn being played, a lot of times we do see, you know, they just want to engage with Finn's pull, but in this case we do see Spaghetti just going in and immediate follow-up. Oh, very nice.
Force to call, gonna land, and oh my god, massive damage coming through with the Eclipse, with the oh my, the Heliogenesis. I was thinking of the I can't think of the name right now, but the Heliogenesis onto the other one.
Supernova.
Supernova. This is why Luxuria is there to help me in my... I was just blown away by the damage, and Luxuria is able to keep his cool, like always, give me the right names for things, and with that, the game is over before we could even say it. 18 minutes 11.